Yeah. We are all made. We are all made of stars. Who's that from? Is that Moby?
Sounds like Moby.
Yeah. Fucking. Do you know why his name is Moby?
Oh, I did at one point.
He's related to Herman Melville.
Moby, yeah. Right.
Yeah, because
I think you may have told me.
It'd be funny if you were like, why? Because he's a dick? Like, I don't know. Okay.
He's got a whale of a personality.
Oh, but when he goes to a fat movie, he blubbers a lot or something. Yeah. Fucking blubbers. What's he got? A fucking harpoon in his pocket for fucking bitches or something? Let's see
if we're live. Beep, 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 beep. Okay, we're live, everybody.
We are live, everybody. Well, is it good? Does everyone like the background? Hello.
Yeah, that's our 2023 vision board.
Yeah, it's a vision board.
We got together. I came 3 hours early, and
yep,
we wanted to manifest our 2023.
I tell you, this year is the year that a lot of positive change is going to happen.
Definitely,
I can really feel it. Do you? How do you? By the way, everybody, welcome to the Brian McCarthy interview show. I know we were. We took off a little bit of time for the holiday DAZE, but hopefully you enjoyed the shows with Howard, and we did a couple of extra kind of off the schedule shows, and welcome back. And now we'll be it'll be Fridays again, and of course the Patreon is always fun, so we very much encourage you to get on the Patreon board of that fucking bullshit, and welcome. You can comment right now if you're watching on YouTube or watching through Facebook on YouTube. We will be paying attention to that on this show because it's just the two of us today.
Yeah, it is. It's just nobody can get in between.
I thought it was a little time to reconnect.
I think
get back in that. Get back in the old Cessna.
I'm gonna whip up an eggs Benedict. I'm gonna poach you an egg.
Oh, by the way, I almost got into a fighting match with my wife because we were talking about. She was telling me that eggs, Florence. She was like, I was at a diner, and she goes, and I go, what did you have? And she goes, oh, I had an omelet with spinach and feta cheese.
Okay.
And I said, oh, that's good. She goes, yeah, it was a Florentine omelet. And I said, what did it make bad telephone calls or something?
Oh, yeah. But pretended to be a retard.
I said, no, sweetheart.
Like Comedy Central.
I was immediately already annoyed because I knew
Sweetie,
that my wife cannot, darling.
You're like you mansplain like girly things.
Well, I also
like domestic housewife shit.
Hollandaise is a manly sauce.
Oh no!
For
listen,
eggs.
By all means,
the manliest.
I just think it's a funny. You're not talking about carburetors. You're like, let me tell you what. Spinach. It's spinach, tomato, poached eggs.
Just back it up. No, it's no fucking tomato.
There's no tomato.
Okay, just take a breath.
Wow, I see. So you get pretty fucking.
But here's the thing: my wife does not like to acknowledge when she's wrong, which is adorable. I don't get upset with that, but I immediately it was like, hey, that is actually spinach and feta. That's actually an Athenian omelet. That's what that would be called, or a Greek omelet, maybe, or somewhat Greek or an Athenian. Because anything with feta, ultimately, they're going to throw Greek in there because it's feta cheese. Florentine is spinach. So I said, no, Florentine would be. A matter of fact, I've never even heard of a Florentine omelet. If there is such a thing as a Florentine omelet, all it is going to be is an omelet with hollandaise sauce on it, which is kind of gross.
No, eggs Florentine is its own thing.
Eggs Florentine, everyone, there will be a quiz on this. Is just eggs Benedict, which is Canadian bacon, but instead of Canadian bacon with a poached egg and hollandaise, it's spinach. Eggs Florentine. Eggs Stockholm or eggs Norwegian is smoked salmon, and then from there then you get into crazy talk with eggs Boston would be like on top of
what is that?
Fucking baked beans or something. I don't know, but that's what it is. So, but my wife is like, no, you're wrong. You're completely wrong. No, it's not. It's you're completely wrong because I was at the diner and I saw it.
Can't even imagine how heated this guy.
I moved. We are now separated.
Yeah.
Yes. I live in Edgewater, New Jersey now, folks.
You got your own place after that conversation.
Kids, good news, bad news. 2023, you're getting 4 birthdays.
Yeah.
2 with dad, 2 with mom.
Right.
But yeah, no, we worked it out. But I was so.
Was it a thing where because sometimes people would get cute and they'll call things the wrong fucking thing on menus.
That diner
was
should
it a
be
thing like that?
A diner should be fucking closed
Because I'm pretty sure I got a Florentine once and they put tomato on it. That's why I thought it was tomato.
I don't know. Maybe diners are fucking. I don't know. Maybe a diner is like they're taking a lot of license with the term Florentine, but
right.
But if you go to like a brunch place, if I got eggs Florentine and I was just like, oh, give me the Florentine Benedict, and it came out and it was a fucking omelet with feta cheese and spinach.
Sure.
I might just take my pants down and take a shit on the table.
Right.
Like, you're not doing. What am I? What kind of I'm here to have the gayest food of all, brunch.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so
right, yeah.
But we worked
the
it out.
gayest meal of the day. It's the most important gay meal of the day. That was from American Dad.
Have you ever worked in a restaurant for brunch?
I've worked in like a cafe, more like short form, never like full on like service. I've worked in a cafe, which is pretty annoying, but it's not like brunch level.
Ugh. I don't even know how people.
Yeah, it's fucking insane. I would probably kill myself every day.
All told, I probably spent in the neighborhood of 10 years in the service industry. You know, kind of on and off, and waiting tables, and occasionally being a captain. Thank you very much.
Ooh, a capo.
And then bartending, and and then nightclubs bullshit. That's kind of different, but yeah, I really, it's a point of pride that I never would. I feel like when I worked in restaurants, especially waiting tables, I was always like good enough in that. And I think good, by the way, I'm listening to a really great book about the restaurant business right now that shout out Arnold Barkus, recommended to me. And it's this guy that started in restaurants in New York in like the 70s and 80s. It's actually really good. So that's why restaurants are kind of on my mind right now. But I feel like if you're good, if you like, let's say you work in a place that does brunch, and there are people that always work brunch. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they tend to not be the stronger people on the floor. So it's almost like brunches, because it's a shitty, especially because most brunches, number one, regardless of the place, you're going to have to walk around and pour coffee all day fucking long. So, and that just is a nightmare, because you're walking around just, doing coffee. And then, but the places that do like unlimited mimosas,
oh god, bottomless,
yeah, that's a nightmare. And also, like, listen, good if you can get fucking drunk from a mimosa, good for you. Like,
I can.
Well, you're
zero tolerance. I remember many a time getting like just drinking 2 of them and being like, wow. Well, a buzz. I'm not like out of control, but I can feel the effects of it.
I have when I was living in California, I came back to New York for something, and I put together like a brunch of. I was only me, no wife or kids, so I put together like a little brunch party for some friends, and I found this Australian restaurant on the Upper West Side. It might still be there. I can't remember the place, but it was unlimited screwdrivers.
Oh fuck!
Oh yeah,
that's good. That's a good time.
That's a bottomless brunch.
That's a fucking good time.
Because
you end up bottomless. Right?
Spoiler alert: you can get drunk at that.
You end up with no pants on.
If you're drinking. And I remember walking past the bar and like watching them, and whatever vodka they were using, it was in like, it looked like it was in like Poland Spring water bottles. I was like, where the fuck do you even?
Definitely big plastic handles from the,
like double, like
from the Rite Aid,
2-gallon shatterproof. Doesn't even have a label on it. It says vodka with a W. Polish Army vodka or something. So Polish Army vodka. Yeah, it's really something else. So anyway, so that was that. But yeah, it's funny because listening to this book from this guy, and I'll tweet out the name of the book. I think it just came out. I don't know. Arnold recommended it to me, and I happen to be in a place where I could just order the book. And I was like, yeah, I'm fucking sure.
Someone's doing well.
Oh, excuse me. What are you carrying?
Oh, you're just purchasing titles.
What are you carrying on the
willy-nilly?
Oh, Mr. Hubble telescope over here in his pocket. Hubble bubble. But it's funny because the guy talks about how, because when I worked in restaurants, there was like no HR, or there was no, I mean, it was like a fucking just Caltrin of just nonsense. You know what I mean? Like utter fucking not. Like, the chef would be, fucking, one of the I don't know, the dishwasher in the ass in the walk-in,
the hostess at the front podium.
Yes.
like while she's working. It really restaurant stories I feel like are the best. Like from friends of mine that have been servers forever. Like it's the most fucking debaucherous, just crazy.
Yeah. I would rather, if one of my daughters came home in 5 years from now and she was like, I work in a restaurant, I'd rather be like, can't you just work in a massage parlor? Or,
right.
Yeah. Can't you work in a bareback whorehouse?
You ever consider jerking off long haul truckers or something? Like something productive?
Yeah. I have 2 words for you, honey. Lot lizard.
Lot lizard.
The exciting world of lot lizarding.
Oh my God. Take her up to Hunts Point.
She got to find it herself.
Sure.
I'm not going to, teach a man to fish, he lot lizards for life.
Right.
But anyway, it was really funny because, but the guy was saying in this book, he kind of, there's a prologue to it and everything. And he's like the world of, because apparently about 10 years ago, there was some sort of a court case where you used to, when you worked in a restaurant, you go in, you work all night or whatever it was, and then you made cash. It was like you'd always say when you got a job in a new restaurant, what do you walk with here? Meaning, how much you would cash out at the end of the night. So it would be $300, $400, $200, whatever it was. But apparently that's not even a thing anymore at all because of the IRS. The IRS was like, yeah, you can't even we're not trusting you people to declare they used to just let you declare. I do declare.
Well, find a southern gentleman.
Yeah. Upon this early morn, I find myself with Mr. IRS, I made only $9 US last night. A terrible night. I dropped all my eggs Florentine on the floor. Sure. Yeah. But now apparently it's all very locked down.
It's all above board now. Because even when I worked when I was a barista, like I would get paid under the table. I would get, and then also all the cash tips and all the credit card tips, like shit nothing got reported. I probably shouldn't say that on a live broadcast.
Yeah, you're okay. No, it's gonna crash through the window.
But I mean, it wasn't really necessarily on me. So my boss was like, because people always would in small businesses, at least here, not so much like when I worked back in Minnesota, but when I first moved here and got a job, I remember the first week they just handed me an envelope. It was like I was like they were kicking up.
Yeah, the envelope, or
just an envelope of cash. It was wild. I had no idea.
Or at the end of your night, you would have like all of your credit card receipts with all your tips on it.
Sure.
And you would add it up, with yourself, or you'd have to be some sort of fucking calculator, with like a bike lock on it.
You put your
like
visor
some, like,
on.
Shit. Yeah, exactly.
Accounting.
Three blues, two yellows,
half in the bag. I remember being buzzed up a few times and like counting money. It's a good time.
Yeah. But then you would do that and you would hand in your thing, and the manager would kind of do their own kind of, I would think they called it record of charges, you out. They'd rock you out. They go, okay, so all right, and now all right, and they would just give you, they had a big pile of money, and they would just give you the money from your credit card tips. It was weird, and I don't even you never asked any questions. Well, apparently that's not how it works anymore, but it is funny because I remember just one of the more depressing restaurant stories that I had. I lived in Miami Beach for under 2 years, a long time ago, like 96, and I worked in this stone crab place. You had stone crabs when you were down there, right? Or at least saw them. A place called Monty's.
Not while I was down there, but I believe I have.
I don't think you were there in season. It's a wintertime thing, but and they're really, really expensive. So it was a great restaurant because, and I will tell, if any young people are listening to this, if you can get a job in a restaurant, get a job in a steakhouse, because that is, and those jobs, that's why whenever you go to a steakhouse, the waiters are always like 70. Because it's there that you make the most money. There aren't 55 different things on the menu. You don't have to remember specials, and really steakhouses are just there to just rip you off. Joe DeRosa recently went to a steakhouse with Keith Robinson and Dante Nero, and they got completely fucking bamboozled by the wait staff.
Okay.
Which was a funny story, but I mean, it wasn't.
They just ran the ticket up.
And it was like one of these things where like they just, I don't know. what was his story? It was like just recently. It was like within the last month. It was like they went there, and then Keith was like, they knew Keith. They went to Benjamin's, and they went in and they like came over to Keith, and Keith has gone there before, and apparently like the manager was like, "Can I bring a bottle of wine for you guys?" And Keith was like, "Yeah, bring whatever, player.
Bring it out, boy.
Bring it out, boy. Bring it out. Make it a good one."
Yeah, player.
Yeah, like. And so, and then
blood.
and he was walking over, and Keith is like, "Yeah, they know me here. They know they know a VIP when they see
the Keith Robinson booth." Probably.
Yeah, exactly. Right,
faces the door.
Will Kevin Hart be joining you tonight? I don't know, probably. So yeah, and apparently, so the wine was like $250, and then Joe's steak was like insanely overcooked.
Oh,
and
really?
And Joe was going to send it back, and the guy was like, "Oh, let me just put in a doggy bag for you." And Joe was like, I don't want it. Like, because you know what doggy bag means? You're paying for it.
You're paying for it.
Right.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you're listening and,
it's a good tip right there. I wouldn't have known that.
And also it's an $80 steak. This is not this isn't like, this isn't like a $12 order of fucking potato skins. Like,
this ain't Outback.
This is a piece of protein, boy.
Boy.
It's a big old,
I'll say, boy.
Give me a T-bone steak up on this motherfucker. But anyway, so and then apparently the guy was like, they were going to take it back, and then Dante Nero was like, I'll take it. And then so Joe was like, well, now Dante, and then they were splitting the bill. So even though Dante's taking this steak home,
sure.
Now they have to there are three of them are splitting the bill. So now Joe, which if you know Joe at all, it's gonna make him furious. So now Joe is like paying for the steak that he didn't want, and he's not even going to take it home. And by the way, the thing is like apparently well done anyway. But so steakhouses are kind of like strip clubs. When you go in, you have to kind of understand you're in a place where the priority is to separate you from your money.
Yeah.
And as long as and if you walk in there and you're kind of like, hey, I know what's what. I mean, I was at a steakhouse yesterday, and I'll tell that story maybe in a minute, but so anyway, so work in a steakhouse if you can. But this place was a stone crab place, which was great because 4 stone crabs, which is an entree, it's like $100. So I would walk up to the table and immediately I would just say, "Hey, you're here for stone crabs, right?" And people would be like, "Yeah." And so I would say, "Let me put them in for you guys, and I'll get an order. You're lucky. We have colossals in today." And they go, "Oh, okay." And there's no real fucking prep for that. You don't get bibs or anything. You just kind of you put the order in, and all of a sudden here comes out 100, 200, 300, 400. 4 people, you're at $400 already.
Yeah.
What is that? That's 10, 20, 30. You've already made $120. And, now they haven't had anything to drink. But anyway, the reason why I bring this up is there was a manager who ended up firing me because, I don't know, he just didn't like me. And, but then he got fired. And then his assistant manager hired me back. This is all within a week. This is the restaurant business for you.
Right.
This is how it goes. But this guy was, he was apparently robbing the place blind. He was a total cokehead. And he had he would dress like Miami, he was a kind of a heavy set guy with feathered hair and a white guy with a mustache.
Nice.
And jewelry.
Yeah.
But he was kind of hairy.
Aqua colored t-shirt.
Not Miami Vice. Not that long ago. But you know what it was? Pleated linen pants.
Ooh,
with an untucked, kind of like a Hawaiian shirt, but silk and a little maybe open for the chest so you can see some kind of necklace he's wearing.
Maybe he shopped at Tommy Bahama?
I don't even think Tommy Bahama existed. This was
really
Tom. This was
free Tommy Bahama.
This is almost okay. Tommy Bahama. If those of you who don't know, Tommy Bahama is
such a thing.
This was this would be like Cuban drug dealer almost.
Sure.
So Tommy Bahama's really white. You know what I mean? That.
Okay, he was.
Yeah. Tommy Bahama's almost like golf wear.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is like catamaran. This is what you wear if you're hosting a party on a catamaran that you don't know how to pilot. You're like, do you like my catamaran? Gotcha. Here we are. Look at Key Biscayne.
A little more ethnic than
But yeah,
Tommy Bahama.
but a flat ass
Tommy Plantain.
Yeah, Tommy Plantanos.
Tommy Plantanos.
Yeah, Tommy Plantanos. All right, welcome to my restaurant. Do you like stone crabs?
Hey, if you'd have made that joke to him, everybody would fucking love.
I'd probably still be lit. I'd be still working there probably.
You'd be headlining Miami, Florida.
Well, I remember the only time he tried to like connect with me, I remember he was having a conversation with somebody, and he was talking about Howard Stern, and this is like, I don't know, I must have been 23 working at this place, and I was like, oh, I like Howard Stern, and he goes, oh, that's cool, and then like the next day he came over to me and he was like, hey, Baba Booey, and I didn't get it.
Baba Booey.
Yeah, I didn't.
Says the most pedestrian Howard Stern. Hey, microphone.
Yeah,
Jewish guy.
But he was trying to like have a little Howard Stern moment with me, and I turned to him and I was like, "What?" And he was like, "You don't know Baba Booey?" And I was like, "Oh, no." And he was like, "Howard Stern." I was like, "Oh yeah, Gary," but I'd already like lost it the moment.
Right.
He was like, "Fucking pussy, fake poser." You know what I mean? That's like when you were a kid, you wore a concert T-shirt, and from a band you didn't even know. Oh yeah, who's in Journey? I don't know. I like all of them. I like. Yeah. Who's your favorite member of Journey? Journey,
the Filipino one.
Yeah, right. Exactly. The guy that plays the keyboards from the video game. There's a Journey video game, by the way. It's awesome. But anyway, but this restaurant in particular was great because these two smoking hot girls were the hostesses, and they were both like, one was Cuban, big surprise, and the other one was whatever, Hispanic, but they had these big fake tits, and I would walk past the hostess stand and they would just whip their tits out.
Oh my God.
And they'd be like, Brian, how you doing, baby? Brian. And they were like my age, but they were so hot and just ridiculous. Yeah. And I don't think they didn't want to fuck me. They were just like being stupid, but it always made me blush furiously. And
oh my God. And made me blush from my cock.
Yeah, blush. By that I mean redness, red spots all over my dick. And I remember they hired a girl that was working there, and she was another, lots of big surprise.
Sure, lots of
Hispanics
ladies
down there, right? And this girl was so cute, and another one, she had these big fake tits, but she was tiny.
I'm gonna have to jerk off in between.
Come on,
now on the Patreon. I'm gonna have to take a break.
On the Patreon, I'm gonna blow
Knock it off.
Happy New Year. But this girl was really hot, and she was, and I had a girlfriend at the time, and I should have cheated on that girlfriend. That's like one of my only.
Yeah, it was like a crazy stripper girlfriend, right?
Yes, she was. Yes, she was. She was. Yeah, she was. And
but free for all.
But we didn't really have any friends when we lived down there, so we sort of hung out together all the time. So, if I ever went to duck away, it would have been very obvious that I was. Trying to step out on her, but I would have had I known we wouldn't have 3 kids in a house in the suburbs right now, I would have taken a swing for it. But the funny thing about the girl with the big tits that was a waitress that they hired there was I used to really aggressively be like, oh man, I'd love to fuck you. I'd tell her that shit.
Oh, you would just say,
joke
just
around.
So
joke. I was never really serious about it.
I just wanted to clarify.
Hey, you want to hear? You want to hear a funny joke? I want to fucking come in your pussy. Isn't that funny?
Hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm goofing.
Yeah. Knock, knock. Who's there? Come in your pussy. So, all right. So the girl was like, so a week or two in, she starts dating another waiter. And that's how it goes. And,
sure.
And he was this big, kind of tall guy, nice guy. He was a DJ kind of. And I said to him once, we were all hanging out after the shift at this place down the block. And I was like, oh man, it'd be great if we could the 3 of us all hook up one night. And he was like, yeah, I'll ask her, laughing about it. Then a couple days later, he's like, yeah, all right. You want to come over and hang out with us?
Wow.
And I was like, oh shit. Because there's a big difference between, do you want to come hang out with us? Or my girlfriend said it's cool, we can both fuck her. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
When you say you want to come hang out with us, that sort of implies it's going to get pretty gay.
Yeah, it's going to, everything's going to be going in every configuration. It's not just going to be, we're not just going to spit roast
every dang hole. Because
Marisol.
Yeah. And so I sort of begged off. I didn't really know how this was going to go down.
Would love to.
But back to this manager with this little fucking, I can just picture the guy it was yesterday. But he was, so they hire this couple to work because Miami's, it's not unlike New York in that people move there from Minnesota or no, I didn't even say Minnesota. I was going to say Missouri because they were actually from Missouri.
The Latin ladies were?
No. They hire. Okay. So there was some couple show. So one day I show up And this was like during the Clinton years, and like this was South Beach was really jamming in the winter. Summer not so much, but so they really always needed people. So if you lived in like these people, for example, I know lived in St. Louis, this couple I'm going to tell you about, and they, you could like move. It was kind of like the Dust Bowl or something. Like you could move to Miami in the winter and just make a ton of money working in a restaurant.
Right.
And then when summer came around, you could move. Like there were a lot of guys that worked at the restaurant Monty's, and they were career waiters, and they would work in Monty's, from New Year's Eve to around Easter. And then Easter, they would go back to like, Puerto Rico or Dominican Republic or New York or New Jersey or whatever. And they would hang out with their family for like 2 months or 3 months. And then right around Memorial Day, they would go to some sort of Northeast beach place like the Hamptons or the Vineyard, and they would work at a hotel or a resort or a restaurant and make a ton of money from, say, from Memorial Day to Labor Day. And then once the season was over there, they would then have all from Labor Day all the way through the holidays. And then they would start it all over again in January, which frankly isn't a bad life. If you think about it, you know what I mean? Like there's one guy I worked with, super nice guy, and he made like 150 grand a year. Yeah. He was Dominican, and he was a very good looking guy, and he had a wife and kids. He was fucking everything he could find, in Miami. And then when he went to, he worked at a hotel in Southampton. He's like, I'm fucking all the fat housemaids. And so, I mean,
yeah, if you like white ladies.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty. You know what I mean? For them, it's like, ooh, it's exotic.
Yeah, but I don't think the housemaids in Southampton were.
The housemaids, not the.
No, yeah, he was. No,
I was thinking like the housewives.
Because a lot of these places that are in like these beach areas, in order to get staff, they house you in like almost like a dorm room. So he would always tell me like, yeah, I work in Monty's, and he would live in like a 1-bedroom with like 3 other guys, and they would just save their money, save their money. And then they would do the same kind of shit in the summer. But in order for him to have some sort of sexual release in this little dorm, they'd bring up like, I don't know, like Haitian maids and stuff. And he would tell me that he would just, I don't know.
That sounds hot.
He would just rape them. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Can you imagine?
He would rape them and tip them.
This guy was really cool.
Yeah, he was a cool guy.
He would rape housemates.
I mean, they're probably if they're single too, or not. He's not single, but if they're not with their man or whatever,
everybody gets lonely. I don't know.
Everybody does get lonely.
It's not for me to judge, but
no, not at all.
But anyway, so this guy, this manager with this fucking dumb mustache and his catamaran formal wear, this couple shows up one day, and they're just, because you work in a restaurant some days, and you show up at the meeting, and all of a sudden there's some new guy, and their manager's like, all right, this is fucking whatever his name is from St. Louis, and he is going to be working here. And typically in a restaurant, you train for a couple of days, and then they give you sort of half a station, and then you get a full station, and then you're off to the races, whatever. And this guy was kind of a heavy set, older guy, like 40 or 45. And that same day, there was a new hostess who was really, really young, and she was white, and she was really skinny, blonde girl. And she showed up, and she was like a hostess, which was frankly weird, because you had these 2 like really hot Colombian and maybe Cuban or something. The girls that show me their tits all the time, those 2 were there. And then this girl shows up, and she's with the manager. And then we all on the floor, because, you talk to each other. And we found out pretty quickly that this new skinny hostess was married to this heavy set older guy who was one of the new waiters. So they were like a married couple that were working here now. All right. It's not, that's not that unusual, but it's a little weird, but that's okay. Whatever. So anyway, within a week, this skinny hostess girl is fucking the manager, the catamaran guy. Right. And apparently the story was the catamaran guy had a roaring cocaine habit. And apparently like somebody, like it was so obvious, like it was like after work, and he'd be like doing the paperwork with like his hand on her leg, and it was in front of like this waiter, this heavy set older guy, her husband, who was not who, unlike this DJ who was okay with me having some sort of three-way sex thing.
He wasn't down to hang out.
He was not down to party, but he did not like it at all. So
wow.
So I remember
what a weird.
It was the whole thing was so.
Oh my
because
God.
the manager was so brazen. He was like, "Yeah, I'm fucking your wife. Like, what are you gonna do about it? I'm the manager of Monty's."
So primal.
It was a real alpha thing to do.
Real alpha.
Yeah, it was like pissing on his shoes.
He's got the catamaran
and the guy. Shirt. Here's the thing: the guy's still training too, so the guy like needs the job.
Jesus Christ!
She's like, "Hey, Mike, where do you put the napkins?" Like just furious.
Jesus, I can't even imagine. What a weird.
It was totally weird.
It seems totally unnecessary too. There's probably plenty of places you could, plenty of places you could work.
None of it made any sense. But it was all happening right around me.
The sad part is she probably wanted to stay. And then, and he's like, well, if I fucking leave, then it's just unregulated.
Well, you kind of get the feeling sometimes, like I saw people like this in Miami.
Oh, that's so sad.
A lot where like it's almost like people would just get in their car from like St. Louis and just drive until they ran out of America. And then the guy was like, okay, baby, well, I'm gonna work here. You're gonna be hosted. We're gonna get our kids back or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's very like it's not like they needed. These two didn't seem like they had a lot of options. Right. And she was way younger than he was.
Well, and it might have been one of those sort of arrangements or maybe unsaid things where it's kind of like, I get it, you're much younger than me, so you can kind of like,
yeah, but I don't think
you get to.
He didn't read the fine print because I didn't.
No,
he was not. And by the way, the manager was older than this guy, the husband. He was fatter, and I mean, he was the manager, granted. But like. It was very much like,
Jesus.
Yeah. And so if maybe it was a marriage of convenience or whatever it was, but put it this way, this girl like got to this job and she traded up by the second day.
Yes. Jesus.
She like
Christ.
looked at her husband, they may have been sleeping in like their Chevy Malibu or whatever. Right. They're like sleeping in a car. And he's like, in 4 days, I'm going to start making money, honey. Don't worry. Hey, you want to split these saltines with me?
Oh my God.
Let's go drink pond water.
Oh, I might kill myself.
Yeah, it was very
Jesus Christ. Well,
the greatest thing about it was, so then this is all happening in very, very quickly. So she's with this, they show up together. So first day is like this. Shows up, hey, new old white guy, gonna be training to be a waiter. Doesn't announce that there's this new hostess because you don't really announce hostesses. You just sort of like they're just over there in like a dress and there they are. Because they're not really on the floor. So, but you notice, and I was always walking by the host stand because I like to see some tits.
Oh yeah.
So I walked by and I saw this kind of bird-like, very pretty girl, but like very tall, kind of willowy blonde girl, but really skinny. I remember just being like, this bitch is fucking skinny.
She's been living in the Malibu.
Yeah, she's emaciated.
Sleeping in a hatch.
Yeah. She's been eating pudding out of the ashtray.
Yeah.
Rinse it out and still tastes like smokes. God, it's awful. So I go by and I see this like girl, tall, skinny girl, and I'm like, oh, and I go to like probably the Dominican guy who was, having sex with a Haitian girl with like 3 families, and I was like, and he knew he'd gossip on the floor because this Monty's place. They also had sort of like dorm arrangements with like, so if you worked at well, not everybody was like this, but if you worked at Monty's for the
room and board was available.
Well, I think it was like if you worked at Monty's for the season, because there was very much a real season, you could live in like these sort of like, it was like a hotel kind
waiters'
of
chambers,
yeah, in the basement. Hello, Governor. Happy Boxing Day.
I'll be in my chambers.
I'll be done. Right. I've got to empty me chamber pot. Hello. All right. So it all smells like fish. It does.
Oh my God.
And I said to him, I'm like, hey, what? And he goes, oh yeah, they drove down from St. Louis, and she's like, he knew the whole story.
Wow.
But this was before the manager was like ever, nobody knew. But then by the second day, it was like a little bit of a rumor. He was like, yeah, at the end of their shift, like when, because the hostess invariably will finish work earlier than a waiter because they don't have side work.
Sure.
When the last
marry the ketchups.
No, when the last table's done, the last
roll
table
silverware.
Got to find those little stupid forks to get the stone crab meat out of the side. Stone crab fork meat. So like it was like I remember he was like, yeah, at the while she was done, the manager was like, hey, why don't you like go wait in my apartment for your husband to be done. And of course, I'm sure the waiter was probably like, "Oh, what a nice guy," or whatever.
God. Yeah, at first.
Yeah,
the first time.
I don't think that lasted very long, right?
Jesus Christ.
So by the second day, it was like, "Oh yeah, like Mike." I think the manager was like, "Yeah, like."
Catamaran Mike.
Mike, by the way, married. I don't know.
Okay.
Married with kids. I don't know how this is going down.
Wow.
Yeah. So now Mike is there, and now Mike is like, they're like, "Yeah, Mike's fucking her," and the waiter, by the way, and everyone seemed to know except her husband for like about an hour.
Wow.
And then by
an hour,
and by the end of the shift, it was like I actually saw this. I walked past, I was like walking to get something, and I looked to my left, and the older waiter is in tears, never going to sign, and he's talking to the hostess, who is the much younger girl, and she's not crying, and it's like she's basically like dumping him, like
wow.
and then I don't think they had spent. This is like they're not even done their second day in this fucking restaurant, and so
just relationship shattered.
Yes. So now, okay, third day, here we are. No fat older manager. I'm sorry, no fat older waiter. He's his third day into training. He's not there.
He's probably on a Greyhound back to St. Louis.
It gets good.
Okay. Oh, you have more information.
Yes. So he's not there. She's there. Okay. Yeah. Not only is she there though, she's now like
she's assistant manager.
She's princess. She's the Yoko Ono of Monty's.
Yes, of Monty's.
She's there, and she's like on his arm practically.
Oh my God.
And and he's like working, and she's coming over. She's like, "Mike, I've got another one of your crocodile belts that fell into my pussy. Here it is. Remember this? Here's another silk shirt that has like sailboats on it. Here's a sailboat shirt, honey. I love you. Until I meet another manager." So they're hanging out. Okay, so now we're about halfway through. And by the way, this place during Miami Beach, South Beach in the winter, Sunday through Sunday it's fucking jamming.
Is Monty's still open?
Yes, it is.
Oh man,
there are several Monty's. This is Monty's. Okay. This is. I'll tell you where it is. This is Monty's in the Miami Beach Marina.
Okay.
I
just want to check out the Yelp page.
Check it out. Yeah, they're like, watch out for that manager.
Right.
Now he's 70, but he still has all those shirts, but he tucks them in now under his nipples.
Right.
He's like, "Hey, you got any married? Can I ruin any lives today?" He doesn't have a nose anymore. It's just some big coke hole. So now, we don't see this guy. We see her, right? And we're doing the restaurant, and you see it.
Is it Monty's Sunset South Beach?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yes. Well, God, this is taking me back. But I believe Monty's Sunset South Beach there's a Monty's restaurant, which is, I think, where I worked, which is sort of the fine dining place above it.
Gotcha.
And Sunset, I believe, was like the little kind of horseshit bar kind of thing.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Underneath it.
Yeah.
That's where Tommy Hilfiger had his yacht. I just remember that because.
And there's Monty's Raw Bar. That might be something totally different.
They probably. Hey, that's what the manager called this girl's pussy. Hey, let me see your raw bar. Hey, smells so fresh. What are you, like 29? Is that a cesarean scar?
I just like that she completely left him to really just be like a girl on the side too, because if he's married and has kids. Maybe it was like a real hit the ground running. Maybe it was love, and he was like, "I want to fucking leave my wife for you," and she was like, "I'm gonna leave
everyone seemed to be all horned up down there, and no one was really making a lot of good decisions. Like, for example, that little skinny girl with the big tits that with the boyfriend that I think wanted to fuck me and her at the same time or something. She had 2 kids that she wasn't allowed to see, which is always kind of a danger sign. So everyone was everyone was damaged. You know what I mean? Like, it was so now it's now day 3. Okay, of this, I'm looking at this through the trajectory of this guy's training 4-day training schedule. 4 days, his life is ruined. Yeah. First day, hey honey, got a new job. Here's the good news. They also need a hostess. Put on your only dress. steam it at the campground where we're living.
Yeah.
And let's go change our lives. Second day, oh, that's so great that you hung out with the manager after my shift. Well, I have to study the menu. Third day, she leaves him. And she's now like living. I don't know what now. I don't know anything happening outside of the restaurant. So now it's third day. The restaurant is jamming. I mean, there's just fucking stone crabs flying around. It was traditionally it's stone crabs, hash browns, cream spinach, and then I'm starving.
I love a steakhouse side.
Yes, me too. With key lime pie is that's the dessert of choice. So, and that's it's a great, and and if anybody ordered anything other than that at the restaurant, you make them feel like such an asshole.
Sure. Yeah.
Somebody's like,
you rube.
Yeah. Like, how's the mahi-mahi? I don't know. I've never served it. Nobody eats it.
Yeah.
It's from the Indian Ocean. Is that a good hint?
Yeah. How's the turnip truck?
Is
what I would say.
Yeah, right. Did it hurt when you fell off it, sir?
Slack-jawed yokel.
Yeah, sir.
Get out of my fucking restaurant.
You see that man over there wearing a silk shirt covered in Thunderbird cars? He will fuck your wife in front of you.
Right.
Let me call him. Manager, excuse me. Guy comes over with his cock out. How you doing? Is it your wife? Yeah. You want to come see the office? Don't do it, sir.
Right.
You just order stone crabs and forget about that mahi-mahi.
Right.
So the guy, so now it's third day, right? She's there. She's working. She's like, I don't know what. She looks like she's having a great time. She's working. She's probably completely blasted on coke because,
dude, honeymoon phase.
Spoiler alert, I had a coke dealer who apparently was the same coke dealer as this guy, Mike, the manager. I only found that out later. And it was a great coke dealer. It was like the cocaine was really spectacular. So this guy was getting like the good shit. So this girl, I don't know. I mean, she was skinny enough where, anyway. So now it's third day. No guy. I don't know where he is, but we see her and the whole restaurant, all of us on the floor. Everyone knew the deal. Everyone knows, because in a restaurant, everybody knows your fucking business. So we're about halfway through dinner, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, something like that. And all of a sudden we hear a huge commotion at the host stand. Okay. A huge commotion. All right. The fat waiter, is there.
He came back
in his street clothes.
Yeah.
And he is crying and he's screaming at the manager to come fight him in the parking lot.
Sure. Yep. As one does.
At like in the middle of a crowded
scorned
restaurant. And guess who's in the restaurant? Monty.
Okay.
Monty from Monty Stone Crab. The Monty is there.
Wow.
Who, by the way, as a credit to what a fucking motherfucker this guy is completely just entertained by this.
Sure. Monty loves it.
Just recognize because I found out later on. Remember this guy Mike fired me not too long after this, and then I got rehired a week later because he got fired. Whatever. So I ended up like getting fired. Once I got rehired, I kind of got brought into Monty's a little tighter.
Brought you into the fold.
Yes. So Monty was like on his fourth wife. He was this older white Jewish guy from New York. So he and I kind of got along and talked about New York or whatever. And so this guy shows up and he's screaming. He knocked over something. He was clearly fucked up. He knocked over something in the lobby. Our manager did what any manager of a restaurant would do. He just went and locked himself in his office.
The guy who was being called out.
Yes.
Wow.
And he didn't call the police, but all of a sudden, two of our dishwashers, these nice Haitian guys, come out of that. And by the way, this is a nice restaurant. This isn't like fucking Church's Chicken or something. Right. Like this is a nice place.
Kennedy Fried Chicken.
Yeah, this is like a place that has like a reserve wine list. They come out and it was I'm trying to like I have a lot of work to do. I have like private party rooms. There's a lot of shit happening. Right. And this guy, I'm not interested in anything other than what's happening because you can hear. It's loud. It's a lot of like tile and it's open up to this marina and the fucking Biscayne Bay is there and everything. But you can totally hear this guy's like, yo, motherfucker, come out of your office, you fucking pussy. I'll kill you. I'm from St. Louis. You fuck.
Oh, yeah.
My wife's 14. You're married already. Your daughter has Down syndrome. Now I'm just, making things up, of course.
Speculating,
right. So at some point, the guy, like the fat guy is unceremoniously, I don't know if anybody put their hands on him or whatever it is, but I feel like the hostess came out. Now she's finally crying, that Ice Queen. And she's crying, and he's like, come with me. And she's like, no, I'm staying here. So he just leaves. So he leaves.
Yeah, right.
And I see the skinny girl is now, she's now it's like the whole thing is like back to normal. Everyone's kind of like, wow, that was fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, the manager, because last to leave is the manager, she's still with him. And the fourth day, we see her there again. Fifth day, we never see her again.
Wow.
And that was that. So somebody thought that she went back to St. Louis, either with this guy or not. But of course, the other thought was that Mike just killed her and put her in the Everglades.
But then you said Mike got fired.
Yes.
Soon after?
Mike was stealing money from the restaurant. He was working with the banquet manager, and they were doing these.
The trans.
No, thanks for remembering, but that's an entirely different.
A different person embezzling for cocaine.
Same frame, same time frame. But that was the Delano Hotel.
Oh, Jesus.
Miami's no joke. So
everybody's on the grift.
Everyone's on the grift.
Well, there's a bunch of great cocaine coming in and seasonal work, but people in the service industry already do a lot of drugs and behave this way. So it's kind of.
And the line is always, if somebody isn't stealing a little, they're stealing a lot, So I think, but I don't really know the particulars, but apparently this guy, Mike, was like, you would come in as a, to have an event, they have these sort of party rooms around, and he was skimming with the banquet manager, and he was just completely caught. And I guess maybe probably his third or fourth time. So the guy got fired, and then the assistant manager who hated Mike, he became the manager, and I had already gotten fired, and I couldn't get a fucking job for some reason. I couldn't get a job. I don't know what was going on right then and there, but I couldn't get a job. So I went back to the assistant manager, and I was like, hey, remember how Mike fired me because he didn't like me because I didn't know Baba Booey? And, and he was like, yeah. And I was like, can I have my job back? And he knew. And here's the craziest thing. He hired me back, and Mike was still there for a couple of days.
Wow.
Like kind of help showing. It was like training the guy.
Training his replacement. Almost like
Monty was like, listen, Mike, I'm not going to have you arrested, and you need to give me back this money, but you're done here. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
I like the cut of Monty's jib.
Yeah, nice. You have to be able to like take all this with the grain.
You can't just clutch your pearls every time somebody.
You can't. I mean,
every time a fucking manager.
You're owning a restaurant in Miami Beach. I mean, you've seen that scene in Scarface. When they're all wearing tuxedos, and that was a Monday. That was brunch actually.
Yeah.
Bottomless brunch.
That's actually footage, security footage from brunch at Monty's.
That was when right. The character was Tony Montana and Bottomless Brunch.
Yeah.
So anyway, there you go.
Good times. I had a good friend of mine that was like he was a comedian, but he was a waiter. And I remember he told me that he and the manager tag teamed the hostess at the bar, like right at the bar after a close one night.
Oh yeah.
Like just right there. He's like, we it's one of those things that was kind of like older, and it was similarly older manager was trying to fuck the younger hostess.
Right.
And so he used my buddy Sam, I think, as kind of a bargaining chip. He was sort of like, oh, hey, hang out with us afterwards. Because if you're here, you're like halfway in between our age gap, basically. So if you hang out, she'll hang out. And then they fucking double teamed her. Yeah. And he was high on crack most of the time.
Wow.
Yeah, he was a cracked out waiter.
That's not that unusual. I worked in a restaurant once with a guy who was training, and he got fired in the middle of, well, you actually can't get fired because you're not really working there yet, but he was smoking crack in the walk-in. They went in to get like, I don't know, eggs or whatever.
Right.
And he was in there like hitting a pipe like, hey.
Golly. I mean, that's probably a good place to do it because you're not going to smell it as much.
There's no ventilation. I would imagine that crack smoke probably hangs in the air.
Like somebody was burning plastic in the wall.
Yeah. I mean, crack. I've smelled crack a bunch of times, and it doesn't smell like anything other than crack or like burning plastic.
Once it was on the subway. A guy was smoking crack on the subway. Yeah, maybe plastic or styrofoam or something. It was a peculiar smell.
Very chemically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. It'd be great if they could, like, they sell these vape jewels. You could buy crack, the crack that smells like
crack cartridge.
Yeah, a little crack cartridge, watermelon kiwi, watermelon kiwi crack.
What flavor crack you got?
Man, plastic. It seems like I wasted. Yeah, it seems stupid that I bought that one. I should have got one that smells a little fruity.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, restaurants are crazy. So I don't know, but I do think that, like, now they have HR and you don't get cash every night. And I'm sure it's still
probably a little safer.
I think it's
but I think it's still probably pretty wild. I don't know.
Yes. I think, like, the interpersonal relationships are still there, but, like, think about, like, the cash. I want to tell you about going to the steakhouse yesterday. It's pretty funny, but think about, like, when you have any kind of a business where you just have, like, cash flying around.
Yeah.
Then it's a recipe for trouble.
Well, because you can even if everything is reported, I mean, people can still be skimming money. Like, that's not.
Or at the very least,
people got to report you're stealing at this point.
Or people at least have money in your hand. You know what I mean? Like, so after work, you're, like, if after work, like when I worked in a restaurant, if I made $300, I would go out at work. After work, I go to $300, and I would have to be like, all right, I have $300 in my hand.
Right.
I have to make sure I come home with
a goal
110 of this. Yes. You know what I mean? And so I can spend $190 tonight.
Right.
On whatever. Yeah. So there's that. So it's like, but if you're done work and someone goes, here's a piece of paper that says you made $300 tonight, you're like, oh, that's great. But now, you can't really. I mean, I guess you can't really. You can't buy drugs. I don't think you can buy drugs like with, like, Venmo or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure. I think you can buy.
Really?
Yeah, I think most dealers take all that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Venmo or Cash App. They probably just have, like, some kind of a burner account.
You think?
Something. I think so. I watched a thing for it was some investigative thing on drug dealers, and even the guys that were getting, they were like the middlemen or whatever, and they were getting large amounts. It was like a Hollywood coke dealer or whatever. So he's kilos of cocaine, and he was like, yeah, everything's electronic. Like, there was no cash. And this was just a couple years ago. So I don't know. I think they find ways of.
Yeah, it seems crazy though. Like, if you get like a gram of coke for like $80 and some, like, guy shows up at your apartment.
Yeah.
And instead of giving him 420s, he's like, okay, it's Professor Griff at hotmail.com. And you like send it to them. And then they look on their phone and they're like, okay, thank you. Like, I don't know. It seems like,
well, because now I think that they changed it this year. They made a new thing, like the IRS is more on it. So, like, if you make maybe it's over 5,000 or something on electronic payments, you have to report it. Where in the past, I think maybe you didn't have to as much. So if it exceeds an amount of just like, oh, hey, you paid for half of my brunch the other week, or babysitter, little shit like that. If it exceeds a certain amount, I think you have to report everything. And I think you get sent, like, paperwork and all that. Really? So maybe now it might not be as loose, but because you actually have to report, you would have to have, like, a business front. Whereas before you could just say, like, oh, I sold them about some bobbleheads.
So what you're saying to me is, I feel like by that metric, you would almost not be able to take $60.
Yeah. So I know there was a few years where it was, like, very loosey goosey, but now it may change, because if you're a coke dealer,
right?
And I mean, do you want to? You don't probably want to pay taxes on your.
No.
You probably went cash only, which would fuck the waiter that we're talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have to get and even
got to go to the ATM first.
Yeah, and then even if you have to go to the ATM, you're like thinking about it. You're like, I have to go to the fucking ATM, and you got to, like, hit the thing. But if you just have the money in your hand, it's like, there it goes. Which is fine. So I had a friend of mine in town. And he came in, and I haven't seen this guy in like 15 years, and we were roommates, very good friends, and he's a close friend of mine, even though we've seen each other a million years. And he came through New York with his son, and we went out to. I said, "Let me take you to lunch," because his son, I don't know, they never come to New York or whatever. So I'm like, let's go. So I said, you're only here for like one, and I had COVID all week. I'm fine now. Thank you everyone for your prayers. But he was only here for like one meal. So I was like, well, let's go someplace that's kind of fun. So have you ever been to Sparks Steakhouse?
I have not, but isn't that the like?
Yes.
Is that the John Gotti one?
Yes.
So I've heard of it. I've never been.
For those of you, okay, so Sparks Steakhouse is a steakhouse, like a classic New York, hash browns and fucking steak and but it's a little Italian because they have like shrimp scampi, lots of seafood, but it's this big steakhouse. It's been around for 100 years or whatever, maybe not that long, but it's been around for a long time. So back in 1985, and I only know the year because I'll tell you in a minute, but like in Sparks, famously, Paul Castellano, who was the head of the Bonanno crime family or Colombo.
I think he was Bonanno. I don't know.
One of those crime. One families. Of those one of those Guinea garlic breath papists.
He was the guy that I think that got wiretapped from the cable guy or something. Like they sent in the FBI was on him and they wiretapped.
Yeah, I know that house. He was the top mafia guy of all the mafia guys. Mm-hmm. I would call that the 2D di capo.
I think it might have been Castellano. I don't know.
It was Paul Castellano.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So Paul Castellano was having dinner there with some associates, and John Gotti, who at the time was a captain in another family, he murdered Paul Castellano as Paul Castellano was exiting this steakhouse.
Oh, it was Castellano that got murdered.
Yes.
There. Okay. It sparks.
So John Gotti walks up to this guy he was with Sammy the Bull Gravano. Sammy Gravano, another mob guy who famously flipped, which means informed on the mob.
He rolled over.
I'm
not gonna roll over.
Hey, you got no heart. You made it. You had an oath, Sammy. You had an oath. But Sammy the Bull Gravano was basically who was a hitman. I don't know if he's a captain. Who fucking knows? But so it was Sammy the Bull Gravano and John Gotti walked up, and John Gotti shot and killed the head of the 5 New York City families. And then he just got in a car and drove away. Everyone knew the guy did it. So then apparently a week later, John Gotti was now the head of the mob. That's how these things work.
Got promoted.
I'm not some I know people have a real fucking hard on about like mob, and I think it is all vaguely interesting. You know what I mean? Like I get it, but so anyway, so Sparks famously is a place that's a steakhouse in New York. But if you're one of these people that really is into like mob history or mafia lore or New York City gangster history, it's a really famous place. But other than that one thing happening, it's just a very expensive steakhouse that you go to, and it's just a restaurant. But everybody knows. I mean, it's already been almost 40 years ago, but everybody knows. I mean, you knew immediately when I said Sparks, like, oh, didn't this thing?
That's the only thing I know of the place. I probably walked by it before. But
yeah, it's on 46th Street, right off 3rd Avenue. Mm-hmm. So anyway, so that is the place. So and I haven't been in there in almost 20 years probably, and it's just not really on my radar. And plus, I don't think it's even really that good. It's okay, but there's other. I'm not really in that part of town that often. Anyway, who cares? So so my friend, I said to my friend, let's go there, and he didn't know any of this history of this whole place. So I went there. We went there for lunch, and this place is really, really, really busy. But I don't know, for some reason, it's a quiet week in New York because it's the week after New Year's Eve, and people aren't really out. So there was like nobody in this fucking place. So it was the 3 of us at a table, and there were like a few other tables. It's a big restaurant, so there's maybe 4 or 5 tables at the same time. So we're eating
very businessy kind of, midtown, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. Yes.
Entertaining some clients.
Yeah, I got some got those guys in from Poughkeepsie.
Yeah, the firm in Poughkeepsie.
Yeah, he likes to.
He's managing my portfolio.
I love the idea of fucking up all the mob things. You're like, Frank Sinatra was shot here by Billy the Kid.
It's just really bad.
Just totally mangling it all. Some guys in from like Chicago,
Right.
You know who shot over there?
Ooh.
Who? Baba Booey. Baba Booey was shot there.
Baba Booey.
Baba Booey was shot there by Gary Owens. What?
Yep.
None of this seems like makes any sense. So, and then for those of you who want to learn more about this, there are many books, but there's also a spectacularly shitty movie where John Travolta plays John Gotti.
God, I never even saw that. A good one, the documentary out now is Fear City on Netflix. I think everybody saw that. That's a pretty good catalog.
But that all happens before all this. Fear City.
Oh, was it?
To my understanding, Fear City's like late 70s.
Yeah, it's all that, but it's a lot of banana.
Right.
All the fame,
exactly. Families.
That big heist at JFK,
Lufthansa. Heist. Yes. So anyway, so we have lunch. Good, fine. It was funny too because my friend's wife. I don't think my friend. Okay, so my old friend Peter and I were friends with. I've known this one guy since way before he met his wife, and Peter, my old friend, who I'm not friends with anymore, unfortunately, he was friends with this guy's wife. So Peter and I sort of introduced him to his wife, if that makes sense.
Okay,
but now when Peter and I are no longer friends, and we have been friends for a long time now, unfortunately, I've reached out, but what are you gonna do? Peter. I feel like in our friend divorce, he got Nikki.
Yeah, that always happens.
Yes, you got to pick one, which is unfortunate because who really cares? And it's fucking 20 years later, so who gives a shit? But so I had never met the son before, so I kept saying to the son, "Make sure you call me Uncle Brian."
Okay,
I'm Uncle Brian to you. God. Do you call Peter Uncle Peter? Because I'm Uncle Brian. And he did, and thankfully he's a very nice kid, very nice. We had a lot of fun, caught up, blah blah. It was very nice. And
I'm having fun with you.
I'm hey, kid, you kiss girls yet?
You started acting like a fucking weird.
Yeah, get it right. Hey, you ever see a magic trick? Hey, you call the waiter over. You got a quarter?
Yes.
Everyone's like looking.
Hey, sweetheart. You call everybody sweetheart?
Yeah, sweetheart, right.
Hey, you make a better door than a window. Right. Sweetheart.
Yeah. You like Uno?
Ego.
You like
giving everybody cash.
You like Uno? You play Uno? It's like cards, but it's like kid cards. But it's hard. It's hard strategy.
Fuck.
I play Uno. Anyway, so the kid didn't even know who Peter is. So the kid had no idea of any of this whole thing because these are a bunch of people that I really was very close with. A long time ago, I guess, but now, I'm still very good friends with the dad, but he lives in Chicago. I never see him. So anyway, but the mom, I remember at one time years ago, we were at a bar and my friend was going to the bar and I said, "Hey, would you get me a drink?" And this is before they were married, but I heard her turn to him and she goes, "God, Brian is such a mooch." That always annoyed me. A mooch, like
wow.
I'm mooching drinks.
Sure.
Like,
I mean, you didn't necessarily say you weren't gonna get her. No, usually it's kind of whoever's going.
In her defense, maybe I was kind of a mooch.
Maybe you were mooching. I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't have any money that night, and
okay. So you may have been mooching.
Remember the particulars. Okay. I may have been mooching.
You know what?
But it's kind of a shitty thing to say to he's a mooch. But okay,
mooch.
Whatever. I'm a mooch. Okay.
Oh boy.
Whatever. I'm a mooch. Let me Stolio and club soda, 2 limes. The mooch is thirsty.
Yeah,
and while you're at it,
feed the mooch.
Yeah. While you're at it, give me that little bullet with cocaine in it.
Brian, the mooch McCarthy.
Yeah, right. Hey. Does anyone have a sawbuck I can borrow? Yeah. I used to have a business partner. I fucking hated this guy. And we would go into like a bar, and the first thing he would do is he would walk to the bathroom and go, "Hey, could you give me a Jack and Club soda?"
Sure. He'd do that move.
Anything else I can do for you? Sure.
Yeah.
I have an idea. When we have dinner later, why don't I pick up that check too?
Yeah.
And you make no effort to stop me. That'd be fun.
What a mooch.
Yeah, what a mooch.
Guy sounds like a mook.
So anyway,
mook.
So when the bill came for lunch,
sure,
I took the bill and I looked at the kid and I said, "You make sure you tell your mother." Okay,
because his mother was the one that called you.
Okay. Yes, you make sure you tell her that great. Uncle Brian took you.
Oh fuck!
And I said
you should have insisted that he FaceTimed her while you left the tip.
It occurred to me, But I also, because he when he got the menu, he goes, "Wow, this place is really expensive," and that's when the whole mooching thing came up. I said, "You know, your mother called me a mooch once."
Oh my God.
So yeah. So
this guy with his Irish Alzheimer's.
Oh yeah. Why don't you do me a favor? Take a picture of the bill and text it to your mom. Fuck. Yeah, I know. When Justin, when my friend came into the apartment, he came in the apartment. He looked around. He goes, "Wow, this place is beautiful." I said, "Can you tell all of our old friends that I won? That I won life?
Yeah,
I won life.
I'm doing great. I'm not a mooch.
Yeah, look at me. Like, the mooch made it. Yeah.
Tell your wife that I'm definitely not your mother. I'm definitely not compensating.
Yeah.
For the time that I asked her for a drink.
Yeah. So anyway, so we're at this Spark Steakhouse place, and it's time to leave, and we're getting our check. There's nobody in the place, and so as we're walking out, there are like 2 doors to the street, and we take the wrong door by accident, and it's locked. So we turn around, and the guy, the captain, was there, the waiter was there, and who walked us kind of to the, they're all standing around. There's nothing to do.
Right.
The guy goes, "Oh, you took this is the original door to the restaurant," and he goes, "You're standing where Paul Castellano died." And I said, "Oh yeah." I said, "What table number was that? Or where was that table?" I said, "I hate to be that guy, but would you mind?" And he goes, "Oh, you're in luck." And out shuffles like an 80-year-old man, wearing a tuxedo, and I guess he was working there.
He was the guy that
Paul Castellano. So he comes out. Which, okay, number one, terrific. I'm excited. But now, you know what's going to happen to me now? Now I'm going to get a half an hour story that this guy has told a million times about.
So you're the guy that upsold Castellano.
So he comes over and he has this like thing. I don't even know what kind of accent it was. Could have been like a Romanian, Italian, no accent at all, just garbled. I mean, I was amazed he was standing, and he goes, "Come with me over here, and I'll show you where Mr. Castellano." Always a gentleman. Always like one of these guys. Yeah. And I was like, and my friends, of course, like my friend has he has to pick up a rental car at the airport to drive out to Suffolk County. So I'm like, I'm mouthing my friend. I'm like, "I'm sorry."
I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry.
I didn't know we were going to get a walking tour of the mafia.
Hey, you're lucky. We're now going to reenact.
Is it 4:15? Oh, it's time for our.
I look over, the busboy's putting on a wig
for our quarterly Castellano reenactment.
Yeah, right. Everybody ready? I want to play John Gotti today.
Oh, geez.
I'll be Sammy the Bull Gravano.
Like, I didn't even know this is it's a theme restaurant now.
They pull it a boombox. But
oh, Jesus.
So I stood there so just so you know, if anybody, okay, a couple of takeaways. So maybe you
get out your
number one, it was
notepad.
Table 61 is the table number where, so if you ever go to Spark Steakhouse on 46th Street in Manhattan, if you want to sit at the same table where Paul Castellano.
Is it like a corner booth? I picture like
not a booth.
No.
But it's a corner table. And this, by the way, this is kind of a cheap shot. I know I sound like I'm being bitchy here, but the old man says, he goes, "Mr. Castellano, who's always very unassuming, would always sit with his back to the corner. You know why?" And immediately I was like, "This motherfucker, what am I, some Okie from Skokie?"
Right.
I'm like, number one, that's from The Godfather.
Right.
You sit with your back in the corner so no one comes in the room. You can see everybody in the room. Like, what am I in? What is this, Epcot Center?
Yeah.
What am I in, the gangland?
I also learned that from a house cat. It's like not like a fucking secret.
Who got shot here? Paul Castellano or Garfield?
Apparently, people like to see shit if it's coming at them. All right, let me write this down.
Wait, is this where Opie shot Garfield?
Jesus Christ!
Yeah. I'll have lasagna.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Paul, he was talking about not liking Mondays and
Yeah. Hey, Paul Castellano's last words were meow.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I couldn't help myself. I went, so we could sit. We've all seen The Godfather, sir. Yeah, it's like a line in the movie.
Oh, you took the wind out of that guy's sails.
Every day I die a little, but today I die twice. Mm-hmm. So anyway, but he was talking, and he goes, and he's kind of like, God bless him.
He's a little theatrical about it,
a little bit. And but he wasn't acting it out. All right, now I'm going to be John Gotti. He's like telegraphing it. Now, okay, before when I'm sitting down, I can't sit down my hip. But imagine I'm sitting here and I'm Mr. Castellano, always a gentleman. Mm-hmm. And so he said there, and he goes, Mr. Castellano was about 75 years old at the time. And here comes John Gotti, dressed in his, and this was interesting. He goes, dressed in his finery.
Oh, fresh from the haberdash.
Which made me think like he looked like one of those 17th century like French archdukes with like the white wig with all the curls on it. Like comes up with like stockings on.
Finery.
Yeah, a big ivory
dressed in his finery.
Dressed in his finery. He loved his silk suits. He ruined them. You know, before they were gentlemen. Anyway, so the guy, and so about 15 minutes into this, once I found out the table number, I said, "Hey," I said, "You guys listen. I'm sure you're all busy." I said, "No, wait, there's going to be a puppet show."
Yes.
No, I sell CDs.
Right. Yeah. There's merch after this.
Yeah.
You exit through the gift shop.
Right. Like us on Twitter. It's
right.
not search like us on Facebook, but it's okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, so if you're at Sparks, table 61, and that's what you do. And if you want to meet that guy, that guy's either going to die tomorrow or he'll be there in 40 years. Or it'd be great. I actually said to my friend when we left, I'm like, it'd be so funny if we leave and the guy takes all his makeup off and he's like a Juilliard actor. It's like a 19-year-old kid they hire. He's like, I'm fresh off of The Taming of the Shrew. Well, I spent the holiday season of 2022 playing a 90-year-old man that was there. It was a character I created.
At Sparks Steakhouse.
Yeah, I took a long-form audition.
There were no executives around.
It's like an existential Tony and Tina's wedding. I did it for nobody. My only was 2-3. Right. I did it for this real mooch. And I did think, should I tip this guy? But then I was like, this is awkward.
Yeah.
Imagine I'm like, what's your Venmo? I did tell you once I was in a bathroom where where the bathroom attendant are. And the guy I didn't have any money. I didn't have a dollar. And the guy had Venmo.
And he had his Venmo posted right there?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. He was like, you can Venmo me.
I bought a drink from a guy on the beach and paid him in Venmo.
What beach? In Fort Lauderdale?
No, this was out in
Jones Beach or something?
Yeah, it was one of them.
I mean, it's smart if you have it.
Yeah, because nobody has cash. I guess. I mean, I'm sure he took cash, but he was like Venmo, Cash App.
All you have to do is have a 1099,
right?
And you can just fucking get the money.
All
right, let's hide everybody. And then, by the way, the Patreon. I want to talk all things porn. I get some porn. All things porn.
Lovely.
So that'll be a little.
Okay. Hello to our buddy Ted. Hello to Jimmy.
Hello, Jimmy.
Decline host says, go ahead, caller.
What?
I don't know.
I know.
That was just a thing
hello.
Kevin Brennan used to say.
Oh, really?
Ted says it was Christmas, not holidays. For fuck's sake.
I know. All right, Ted. Hello.
It's Christmas.
Hello. It's Boxing Day after Christmas.
Yeah.
And we had figgy puddings and the like.
He said, what did he say? He said he worked on I went down on a waitress in a kitchen one Saturday afternoon. I believe Ted before he became a prison guard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now that's some Yorkshire.
Jimmy said Joe DeRosa.
Hold on, wait, you ready for it?
Uh-huh.
Now that's some Yorkshire pudding. Thank you.
Which, by the way, I made this
oh shit! Well, let's talk about that for 2 seconds.
I don't know if I did. I don't know if I put enough drippings in it. I didn't have that many drippings because it was a pretty small.
Okay. All right.
I think I need to.
Okay.
But it was whatever. What's it supposed to taste like?
Like crispy, kind of like bready, beefy.
I mean, okay. Yeah. So it was all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Joe DeRosa. Jimmy says Joe DeRosa cut Keith's steak for him. I don't know if that's a joke because he had a stroke.
Yes.
Or if that just really was a thing that he did.
Hey,
that would be adorable.
Hey, player, can you put this in? Hey, player, can you put this in a blender? Let me put this in a blender, player.
Come on.
Well done, steak in a blender, player.
From Philly. Yeah. Philadelphia.
Hey, Kevin Hart, chew this up and put it in my mouth like a baby bird.
Don says, "Hi, cuties. Can I come on the podcast?" I don't know if you know Don.
I don't know. Don
Fasano.
Don, hit us up on social media and probably yes. And if you're on the Patreon, definitely.
And then he's like, send me the link. I think he just like literally wants to jump on this thing. I don't know. I don't know if you want to do that or not with people, but
I don't know how that works.
I mean, I just emailed the guy the link and then he pops up on the screen. Basically.
Oh, I see.
I would maybe be open. I don't know.
We'll tell you what, next week, Don, just
maybe we'll just send the link to random people. I don't know.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Maybe if we don't have a guest, I think that could be a fun thing to do.
How hairy are you, Don?
We'll find out. And then Max. Oh, hello to Morgan.
Hi, Morgan.
Hello to. We said hi to Ted. Hi to Don. Hi to Morgan.
Morgan
says, "Hey lads from England."
Hey, Morgan from England.
Paul Dinnan.
Hey,
your buddy Paul
I
Dinnan
love Paul.
Said he would suck the COVID out of your dick.
Yep, he certainly would. But then it would be.
And then Max has a query. He says, "Hey, got Max Pina,
hi Max,
buddy. I think maybe you know him in IRL. I'm not sure. Hey guys, was curious if you guys could help me with a dilemma.
Sure.
Looking for the best local butcher shop in Williamsburg or other neighborhoods in the general vicinity. Specifically looking for one who sells veal bones. Looking to make some bone marrow.
Yes, I can tell you right now.
Fucking bone flavor here, Max. If you know what I'm fucking saying.
United Meat Market in Windsor Terrace, Brooklyn. It's over by Park Slope, but it's worth it to go out there. There probably is some place in Williamsburg, but it's going to be. This is an old school Italian butcher shop, and it's great. That's what I used to get my roast there for Christmas and everything. And they also their prepared stuff is really good too. So if you make it over there, they make their own mozzarella. It's an Italian market, but it's not like some horse shit like Italy or one of these like
or it's like artisanal.
Yeah, it's yeah. Right. This is the place. If you
what's it called?
United Meat Market.
Oh, okay. Because I go to a place that in Queens it's similar, like has a similar name. But
there's probably, there's A&S Pork Store. There's a bunch of these places I could tell you.
Hey, there's a Satriali's Pork Store.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Right.
I forget what the place
that's from Sopranos. That's right.
Yeah, but you could if you want to.
All of these different pork places this is on Prospect Park Southwest in Windsor Terrace. It's called United Meat Market. This is a place, if you have remembered, I have once or twice, I'm sure I mentioned it. The racist.
Yes.
This is if you want to
delivery man.
The racist retarded delivery guy.
You niggas can't drive, nigga. I kill you niggas.
That's the guy. And we're off. Wow. And we're off YouTube.
That's really like you hit two major
groups. When you show up there but if you make it out there, call ahead if you want. I'm just going to talk about this for 20 minutes, but call ahead if you want to get the bones and stuff. But they break down all kind of shit, so they'll have whatever you want. So yes,
do you ever go to Autumnelli's over here?
Yes,
there's one here. There's one right on my street in Queens that I go to. They have a few locations.
Yes.
That's a great.
It's a great place too. Autumnelli's is terrific. Yeah, I got my roast for Christmas from Autumnelli's.
Autumnelli's.
Autumnelli's is good. They delivered it, and the guy called me on Christmas Eve to deliver it, and he goes, your address, I can't find your address. And he was on the west side.
Oh,
no. I said, oh, buddy. He was cool.
You had to cross the park.
He was cool about it though. He was like, all right, no big deal.
That's the kind of place where you go. Like I go there. It's a little more expensive than the other butcher that I go to, but you can get like a whole education. Like my butcher, he'll tell me all about stuff.
Right.
He wants to talk about it. Like he's given me he's brought out like a whole fucking leg, like a fucking side of beef and like pointed out everything. And it's pretty.
I had a weird thing at my Autumnelli's because I was in there once and there was this butcher, big heavy set guy. It's a family place, big heavy set white guy covered in tattoos. And I said to him kind of like, as I was buying the thing, I was like, hey, do you, I need to get some knives sharpened. Do you guys sharpen knives? And he was like, yeah, just bring your knives and I'll sharpen them for you. No problem.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. So then like 2 weeks later, I just wrapped up a bunch in knives in like a towel. And I brought like 5 knives in and I was like, I bought some stuff and there was a different guy there. And I was like, hey, there's another big guy with tattoos that works back here. And I don't know if he's here or not today, but he's not here. And I was like, he said he would sharpen my knives, and he got like so weird about it. He's like, we don't do that here.
Yeah.
It's like you could tell that guy was going to get a real tongue lashing.
Good cop, bad cop.
Yeah. I was like, what is he trying
situation?
You're trying to fuck me or something?
Right.
Trying to get in my pants, butcher guy?
That offer is always only good for the person that gives it to you. I feel like
I know.
There's like the nice person that's having a slow day or whatever, but
the one by my house, because there's so many old single ladies in this neighborhood.
Sure,
it's the home of the depressing butcher order. There'll be some woman. I remember I was in there because I don't go in there that often, but when I got the roast, there's a woman. She was like, "Can I have 2 lamb chops?" Oh, no. Ever since Henry died,
yes,
I'd like to have 2 lamb chops on Tuesday.
Yes,
I watch Steve Harvey now. He's the host of the Family Feud. And I treat myself, but not too much gristle.
Yeah,
just depressing. I broil them.
It's perfect. Perfect depiction.
Yeah, exactly. Can I get 1/8 of a pound of sliced cheese? 1/8 of a pound. Like, ma'am,
Yes.
Just come on. Get a quarter pound. Live dangerously.
Crazy, weird increments.
Yeah, exactly.
Weird deli increments.
Is your bologna fresh? Sure. Freshest bologna in town.
Freshest bologna can be.
Everybody, we're going to pop over to the Patreon. Thank you very much. I don't know what's going to happen next week, but we will meet you same time, same place. And remember, I don't know. I hate to be like, and also, why don't you rate this show and stuff? Kick it up a little bit because I don't know why. Just come on. Okay. All right. Bye, everybody. See you later.
Patreon.com/Brian McCarthy if you didn't already
sign
up.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.